Transformasi digital menjadi isu strategis utama dalam perkembangan industri telekomunikasi di Indonesia. Seiring meningkatnya kebutuhan masyarakat akan konektivitas yang cepat, andal, dan tentu saja merata. Nah, perubahan perilaku konsumen, percepatan ekonomi digital, serta dinamika persaingan global ini mendorong operator telekomunikasi untuk bertransformasi dari sekedar penyedia layanan jaringan menjadi penggerak ekosistem digital. Lalu seperti apa penguatan infrastruktur digital, pemanfaatan teknologi mutakhir, dan tentu saja pengembangan layanan berbasis data dapat menjadi fondasi penting dalam menjaga daya saing industri dan sekaligus mendukung keberlanjutan bisnis. Insight akan membahasnya bersama saya, Desi Anwar.
Telkomsel sebagai perusahaan telekomunikasi terbesar di Indonesia memiliki strategi yang kuat dalam menghadapi dinamika pasar telekomunikasi. Telkomsel terus berinovasi dengan mengadopsi teknologi terkini seperti 4G dan 5G, serta mengembangkan layanan digital seperti komputasi awan atau cloud computing dan pusat data atau data center. Untuk keberlanjutan bisnis, Telkomsel menjalankan transformasi digital yang mencakup pengembangan infrastruktur digital, perluasan layanan digital, serta penerapan teknologi canggih seperti big data dan kecerdasan buatan atau artificial intelligence. Dalam mendukung transformasi digital Indonesia, Telkomsel berperan penting dengan menyediakan akses internet yang lebih luas dan lebih cepat, serta mendorong inklusi digital. Saat ini, Telkomsel semakin memperkuat perannya sebagai penggerak ekosistem digital Indonesia. Hal ini ditandai dengan peluncuran layanan 5G komersial pertama di Indonesia pada tahun 2021 setelah sebelumnya menghadirkan 5G Experience Center pada Asian Games 2018. Hingga kini, Telkomsel melayani lebih dari 150 juta pelanggan dan memberikan kontribusi signifikan terhadap produk domestik bruto atau PDB Indonesia dengan terus mengadopsi teknologi AI untuk layanan pelanggan cerdas dan jaringan otonom, sekaligus menunjukkan semangat majukan Indonesia.
Dalam konteks nasional, sektor telekomunikasi tentu saja memegang peran yang sangat krusial sebagai tulang punggung transformasi digital Indonesia. Nah, perluasan jaringan broadband, implementasi teknologi 4G dan 5G, serta pengembangan layanan digital seperti komputasi awan atau cloud computing dan pusat data atau data center tentu saja berkontribusi langsung terhadap peningkatan produktivitas ekonomi dan juga inklusi digital. Nah, di sisi lain, adopsi big data dan kecerdasan buatan atau AI, artificial intelligence, tentu saja semakin memperkuat efisiensi operasional, kualitas layanan, dan juga kemampuan industri dalam merespons kebutuhan pelanggan, yang tentu saja semakin kompleks ya. Nah, lalu ke depan bagaimana industri telekomunikasi ini bisa menjawab berbagai tantangan, mulai dari kebutuhan investasi infrastruktur yang tentu saja jauh lebih besar, kesiapan sumber daya manusia digital, ini hal yang sangat penting ya, SDM, hingga isu keamanan data dan pemerataan akses. Saya sudah ditemani oleh Direktur Planning and Transformational Telkomsel, Wong Soon Nam, untuk membahasnya. Hello, Soon Nam, how are you?
Thank you. I'm good. Thank you, Daisy, for having me.
You are the Director for Planning and Transformation Telkomsel, but tell me a little bit about yourself. You are actually from Singapore. You joined Telkomsel 6 years ago, and then you are now heading the Planning and Transformational in Telkomsel.
That's right.
Talk to me what it is that you do, and how have you seen the development of Telkomsel in the last 6 years?
Thank you. First of all, thank you very much again for inviting us to have this conversation with you, and hopefully we can share some insight into the telecommunication industry. But a little bit about myself, as you have asked. Yes, I have spent about 30 years of my career in telecommunications, so I've seen through the growth from 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G.
Almost as long as, how long I've been in the business of broadcasting.
Wow. Indeed. And yes, in in about 2000, I came over to Indonesia as part of Singtel commitment to Indonesia to bring different experience, expertise to help in the development of the telecommunication, especially the business in Telkomsel. As I shared with you earlier, Singtel owned about 30% of Telkomsel share, and the other 70 is Telkom. As part of that, we bring different executives from Singapore, Singtel, to share experience and to be on the board of director in Telkomsel.
How are you enjoying it so far?
Well, 6 years is a long time, and I'm still kicking and alive, so yes, I am.
Well, 6 years actually is super long if you're in the digital and technology industry.
Right.
You know, we started with analog, and then we have all the the big, the big what you call mobile phone, and now you have the smartphone. So, what has been happening in the last 6 years, and where are we now when it comes to the telecommunication industry in the digital era?
Well, a lot have happened, and many changes are already taken place and still changing. I recall in 2020, when I first came.
It was during COVID.
That's during COVID, and we talked about the challenges. But it was a very, well, that event itself also expedite the whole pushing out of the broadband fixed to the home as well, because many people were working from home then.
Everything became online.
Online, and the reality, the importance of digital become more important. So as you ask me what happened over the last 6 years, many things. First of all, we are now in 2025, we are heavily looking at technology such as 5G, and 2020 there aren't much about AI. Nobody talks about it, but today, everywhere you go, AI, you have AI, you've got Gen AI, you have agentic AI, there's so many things happening, right? And the fact of the matter, which is important and critical to Indonesia, is that we have now close to 61 millions of the people who are doing business online. And those are the main industry, those are the small, medium enterprise. Even some of the warung, they conduct their business online. And so connectivity, internet, it's a very important livelihood for many of these people. So I share with you some statistics. 2020, the number of people on Facebook, on TikTok wasn't.
No, it was.
No. And today, TikTok have 194 millions of Indonesians. So that's how much have changed, right? And you have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have YouTube. Gosh, the number just ballooned, right?
Yeah,
And
I mean, Indonesia is one of the biggest users of social media. At one point, we were the capital city for Twitter, which is now, of course, X. But in terms of penetration, like you quite rightly said, our penetration is very, very high, particularly since COVID. Now we are completely reliant on everything online, whether it's shopping, whether it's transportation, whether it's ordering food or
digital
education,
payment.
digital payment, the QR code, and so on and so forth. But talk to me about the latest. You asked me earlier about 5G, for example. I can get 5G here in Jakarta, but what does that look like in Indonesia? And how do we compare with the rest of the ASEAN country? Maybe not Singapore, because but with the rest of us. Are we still behind, and what needs to be transformed?
Well, I think that comparison have to take into context of the nature of the country. Indonesia have 18,000 islands. The biggest in the world. You can look at Thailand, you can look at, Malaysia. They are not anywhere near that kind of landmass. So, in short, Indonesia is a huge country. So we have to be take into context when we talk about the 5G rollout in Indonesia. I think there are many factors that need to take into consideration when you roll out 5G. For example, not as a comparison, like in Singapore, it is smaller. You can implement 5,000, 6,000,
Towers.
But in Indonesia, just the 4G, there are 300 over 1,000. And every site that you have a tower, you need a fiber optics to be laid from one point to another is 1,000 and 1,000 kilometers.
So it's a huge effort.
So and that come along with huge investment, to push out 5G. As a statistic, and this is open information, Telkomsel invests close to more than 10 trillion a year. And we have been spending those kind of investment over that many years since 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G. That continue. So where we are in Indonesia, today about close to 16%.
1/6
of all our city. We have 514 city. Today we should be about 80 city that we already roll out 5G. So if you do the math, it's about 15 to 16%.
So there's still a long way to go, still plenty of room to grow, and still a lot more investment
to be done.
Let's take a little break here, Soon Nam, but we will continue about 5Gs, and of course you pointed out, the importance of AI. And kita istirahat sebentar, tetaplah bersama Insight with Desi Anwar. Kami akan segera kembali. Anda masih bersama Insight with Desi Anwar. Saya ditemani oleh Direktur Planning and Transformation Telkomsel, Wong Soon Nam. Kita masih membahas bagaimana peran jaringan 5G dalam mendukung pertumbuhan ekonomi digital. So we started talking about the 5G, it's important. But so it's only 16% of the 17,000 islands that we have in Indonesia. So it's still a long way to roll out the 5G. So tell me about targets, particularly in the next 1 or 2 years when it comes to rolling out 5Gs and, of course, the accompanying infrastructure that needs to be done and for Telkomsel to invest in.
Yeah, first of all, to roll out 5G, there are a lot of factors at play. One of the most critical one is the spectrum, the frequency in the air that we can use. And I think ComDigi is actively planning to introduce more frequency spectrum to allow for operator to use it. So those are the important factors. Once it's already, then we will start to push out as many cities as possible. I think one of the bigger consideration is also the penetration of 5G handset in the market. So we did some statistics. If you look around Indonesia, on average, the penetration of people having 5G enabled handset, it's around 20.
Only 20%?
About 20, and
really?
if you go to Bali, Bali is a bit higher, then you will be probably in the 25. And some area are even less than 20. So it is not even, it is different place, and the key area that we have rolled out 5G, for example, Surabaya, Makassar, Batam, the greater Jakarta, these are areas where handset penetration are higher. So to roll out 5G, you need the spectrum, you need the availability of the handset, and of course, the resources to build the infrastructure. So all this take time.
Like the towers and everything.
So if I look back in history, it took us close to about 10 years to build our 4G infrastructure. Today we cover 98% of the population of Indonesia, 98%. And to reach that, we started, I think, if my memory serves me right, it was 2014, 2015, around there. Today we are 2025, about 10 years, and we have covered 98%. So if I use that to extrapolate, but things move faster, we are better, we are more experienced.
Yeah, it should be faster,
So even then, to move from where we are today, 16%, to reach that cover 98% of population, it will probably be less than 10, but it will probably be at least 7 to 10, around that range.
Okay, but what about, you know, your plans for next year? I mean, when it comes to rolling out these things, and also the, you know, the number of stations that you have to still build, and also, I mean, we see only 20% of the mobile users is 5G friendly. I mean, I would have thought that more and more of these mobile phones are now
Well,
5G
there are,
kind of
but
based.
the problem was that the cost of the device are expensive. That's why on our part, we are also actively working with all the OEM. OEM are the original equipment manufacturer who produce the phone. The like of Samsung, Oppo, you know, we work with them to see how we can bring the cost of the device down. I mean, it's a chicken and egg.
Yeah.
So once that come down, the penetration will goes up, and when the penetration goes up, more people will want to have 5G, and I think we need to time it. That's a balance. So in rolling out 5G, we don't want to build white elephant, leaving it there and nobody use it. We want to make sure that we time it accordingly. So working with the government, working with the various ecosystem, getting handset ready, getting tower built, you know, this will be the work that will be in 2026. It's our major initiative because we are anticipating that the new frequency which ComDigi will be calling for auction will be out next year. So once we can have that, then that's where we will actively
it should
push
be
on.
available now, because we, television, you know, we have migrated to the digital platform,
Right,
you know, after
right.
how many years of being
That's
stuck in analog.
right.
So there should be plenty of bandwidth available here.
Yes, yes.
So let's talk about the second thing that you mentioned that everyone talks about now. It's one of my favorite subjects, actually, artificial intelligence, AI. How is that changing not only the landscape of the industry, but the way that companies, particularly digital companies, technological companies work? How do you maximize, utilize, and also grow through using AI?
So before I go on to talk about it, I think it is also important for me to set the stage, right? Because without that connectivity, without that 5G, you know, a lot of people talk about 4G, 5G, what's the difference? Now, when AI is an application, you need that
At
huge
least,
infrastructure. So
5G.
it's like a Siamese twin. Without that connectivity, AI has limited usage because you need to put huge amount of data over the connection to the cloud, to the server. So without that, it won't work. So these
that's
two work hand in hand.
That's the basic needs.
It's a basic
the connectivity and
yes.
also the bandwidth.
Yes. So that's a must. So with that, we will commit to build. I think that aside, then I think your next question is how AI has been changing and transforming.
And AI
landscape.
needs at least a 5G type of connection.
Yes, to take the full advantage of AI. I mean, AI is about doing things quicker, faster, more efficient. But if you got to pump through a slower network, then it defeats the purpose. So they work hand in hand. So coming to AI, you know, and this is the trend all over the world. And as mentioned to you, AI have various forms. You got just AI, Gen AI, and you have agentic AI. So on our part, in Telkomsel, we have started way back in 2022 already. Started to use AI to improve our own internal processes, operation. In the past, we will need people to monitor the network, to understand if there's a problem, how could we fix it, you know. Today, we have autonomous network, meaning that we are using AI to help fix some of this problem so that the downtime, if there should be, which very little, Telkomsel has a good network. So if there is a downtime, you know, this can be fixed very quickly. And it is 24/7 because, you know, if it is nighttime, AI is working, keeping monitoring. So very important to get our network ever ready. So internally, we've been training our people using AI.
So sorry, this is the AI that Telkomsel developed.
Yes, yes, we work with partner, implement application that run our network, that keep our network
running
always on.
24/7
Yes.
in data centers.
Yes,
in
this
Indonesia.
already started way back in 2022 and is ongoing. So whether it's our network operation, whether it's our IT operation, that's all been done. I think that's what people don't see. But what people see now, for us, The most critical thing is how do we push out services that customer can realize it. You know, one of the major usage of the AI is how do we use AI to understand our customer better. In the past, we will offer a customer a standard package cut across, everybody is the same, one size fits all. But today, most of our offerings are now personalized. I understand what you need, what kind of genre you use, what video you watch, what application, what time of the day. So we will contextually recommend and offer you services that's relevant to you.
It's all about algorithm now, isn't it?
It's algorithm, but I think it's beyond algorithm because it is also about using AI to, it's not just the algorithm, but at the end of the day, to push out a service involve a certain amount of operational execution.
Okay, let's talk about the personalization a little bit later on, but when it comes to investing in AI, I mean, do you see investment in AI going up? And now, soon we will not be talking about AI anymore, it's AGI. You know, it's like the evolution of AI itself, and at some point it's going to be like a super AI. So where are we now when it comes to the AI that you...
Are you referring to Indonesia as
no, just Telkomsel as a whole? I mean, are you also maximizing the use of AI so that it changes the behavior of your human capital, or it, you know?
So we have been not just investing on AI in our infrastructure, but the people as well. Yeah. So most of our people would have undergo some training to understand AI, to use AI. In fact, just a few days ago, we partnered with ITB to set up the AI hub. And in there, we are working with academia, we are setting sandbox, use cases, experiments. So our work of developing our capability now have gone beyond Telkomsel to the industry, to the market, to the businesses now. And if I remember, about 2 months ago, we went beyond that to bundle our offering with ChatGPT, with Perplexity. Essentially, we are putting AI in the hand of every Indonesian. That's happened. And I think that's a very important part. And one of the important things is that we don't want just to use AI internally, but we want to also co-create with our customer. Because that's very important, because we want to know their needs, and then we can co-create services and product with them. So
are you creating your own ChatGPT language, large language model
we
in
have
Bahasa?
Yes, it is. In fact, we have one of our virtual agent, we call Veronica.
Yeah.
Today, close to 80% of the call that's come in are handled by Veronica. And Veronica have learned it through our own Bahasa.
But she's friendly.
Have you tried it?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, so it's been...
she never gets tired.
She never gets tired. She's always patient. And
we
did a survey. We did a survey. People are happier with Veronica than actual human, because it's patient and understand your needs and understand your question, answer it contextually.
Okay, well, let's take another little break. But it is interesting that we are now interacting with entities that are not human, but they have the kind of intelligence that we ourselves can relate to.
That's right.
You know, and they work 24/7 without complaint, right?
Yeah, no complaint.
No sick leave.
No
need for
leave.
holiday. Jangan
right.
kemana-mana dulu, tetaplah bersama Insight with Desi Anwar. Kami akan segera kembali. Ya, Anda masih bersama Insight with Desi Anwar. Di studio saya ditemani Direktur Planning and Transformation Telkomsel, Wong Soon Nam. Kita membahas berbagai macam topik, khususnya mengenai adopsi big data, kecerdasan buatan atau AI untuk mendorong inklusi digital, dan juga tadi ya pelayanan yang sekarang tuh semakin personal. We touched on this. Our friend Veronica, she's never tired, she never complains, she always gives good.
And she's always learning and improving.
And she's always learning. And she can really answer what you need in a much more, sort of in a faster, more efficient way. Tell me a little bit about that, the personal digital experiences. You're talking about co-creating with the customers and giving sort of a more personalized service. How do you do this? And you have what? How many million customers now throughout Indonesia? And everybody,
about 160
yeah,
million.
and everybody has their own needs. They like their own little thing. You know, they browse and scroll, and they have their sort of the likes and whatever. Tell me, how do you create personalized experiences for such a large number of customers?
In the past, in the normal marketing, people talk about segmentation. You segment the customer. Today, we go beyond segmentation. We call micro segmentation. Why micro? Because in the past, you look at, oh, the gender, this is a male, this is a female,
yeah,
this is the
socio-economic
age.
status.
But I think that itself is not good enough for personalization. Personalization, in fact, in Indonesia, you'll be surprised that different region, different area, the people behave differently.
Really? Give me an example. Give me concrete examples. The difference between Jakarta and Surabaya and Bali, for example.
Well, probably within the Java is the same. But if you look at Papua, if you look at Kalimantan, you look at, you know, Sumatra, Aceh, Padang, they have different needs, the genre, the kind of contents they are watching, and the usage of the social media are also different, right? So the kind of video they download, and also particularly, I think there is different level of affluence, right? So all these play a part in their digital behavior, and we need to understand it so that, you know, you don't push something that's not relevant to them. For example, I think in the area of Jakarta, I don't know, have you been? There is this place that people were doing live streaming. They're live streaming and performing and so on and so forth. Now, these are the people that do a lot, these are Indonesians that do a lot of upstreaming. It's not downstreaming. So for this kind
They're
of
creating
customer,
content.
they are creating content. So if you offer a standard service where it applies to everybody, where you can only download and not upload, now she or he will have to wait very long. So for this kind of people, we offer them different kind of services that allow them to upload their content much faster.
Nowadays, everything is about content. You cannot leave the house or even in the house without creating content. So that changes the way that the telecommunication
in the past, most of the service offered is for you to download. Usually you download from internet and you watch, right? So the design of the network has always been, you put content, hardly you upload. This day you upload your video, you go overseas, you upload your video. So we have to change.
Your
TikTok,
IG,
so many. And you do business, you need to post your products and services. Now to do that effectively, to have a high quality resolution of your product, you need a high speed and quality upload speed. So we have to customize it. So we allow our customer on demand, whether you want download, whether you want upload, you want both. These are all what we call customization. So therefore, we need to understand the need. Who is this customer to us? What is his, her preference kind of service? We need to understand. So all this form the micro segment. So we have a model that is not just 2 or 3 factor, but many variety of factor. And not just mobile. Some people are at home. And because today Telkomsel also offer fixed broadband to the home. And if we know this customer only have mobile, we will then offer them a fixed broadband if they are doing business at home, for example.
So tell me a little bit more about the micro segmentation, because now we are, you know, there's the boomer is still around, and there's the X generation, and then there's the millennial with their, you know, own needs. And there's the Gen Z, who are still kind of up and coming. And how do you see the different needs within these intergenerational?
Like I say, everyone have a different preference, but clearly you can see cluster. For example, there's a group of people are very into gaming. And by the way, Indonesia is one of the countries that it's a lot into gaming, gaming. So gaming as in they're playing game and they are
for both positive and negative.
Well, I'm referring to the positive one
Results,
because some people play game with many party. So they then need low latency in our network to allow them to play game. So these are one category. But there are also other category who use internet meaningfully, purposefully for work, for study, for research work. So we need to cater a different kind of access to this kind of people. But there are also, you know, people are just simply watching video. Then we need to cater different kind of content for these people. So for me, if you ask me across the micro segment, it is huge. So a human mind will not be able to fathom. And that's where we need AI to look at it. For human, 3 dimension, at best 4. Beyond that, I think you just cannot manage it. And we are talking about more than hundreds of different characteristics that we're doing. So that's where AI come in to help us, and this is what we call personalization.
Okay, and of course, you know, we use it now. Now it used to be like, we talk about telecommunications, just basically a telephone, right? Me, Desi, talking to Soon Nam. But now you need it for shopping, for entertainment, education, for, you know, online meetings, for everything.
And business as well.
And businesses, of course, you know, especially during COVID, everybody is like doing Zoom meetings everywhere. And of course, like you said, video gaming and so on and so forth. So where is, you know, anything that is salient or that you can highlight in all of these aspects? Which one is growing more? So the entertainment or the shopping or the, you know, more of the educational or the video gaming? Where's the trend of
I see there's a lot
use?
of businesses growing very fast, especially in Indonesia. I quoted a number about close to 60 over millions of people conduct business online. And there are more than 200 millions of people that went on to online to do their purchases. So these are real things that happening, impacting life. For Telkomsel, I think beyond this group of people, there's another very important thing that we are looking at. That is called the digital inclusion.
Digital inclusion.
Yes, digital inclusion, because as I mentioned, it is a very huge country in Indonesia. There are people out in a more remote area. They are the fishermen, they are the farmer. And I think it is our duty as a telco operator to democratize connectivity, to bring connectivity to everyone so that we kind of equal the playing field. Yeah, I give you an example. You know, for a farmer out there in the remote, today if they do not have access to internet, they will not know what is the price of their product. And, you know, they may not be optimizing their yield. So if you allow internet reach them, then they can do more things on time, real time. So this is the other big area that Telkomsel has been working with ComDigi to roll out infrastructure. While it is important to keep our existing base of customer in Jakarta, providing them good network, but at the same time, that's the bigger challenge for all of
I think
us.
that's an important point. You have your public service obligation.
That's right.
To meet. Let's take a little break, and then we'll talk a little bit more about digital inclusion, as well as perhaps, you know, the innovative products that, because you're not alone, obviously, when it comes to the telecommunication industry. There are competitors out there as well that you have to sort of watch out for.
Sure.
So we'll take a little break, Soon Nam. Jangan kemana-mana dulu, Insight with Desi Anwar akan segera kembali. Anda masih bersama saya Desi Anwar, saya ditemani Direktur Planning and Transformation Telkomsel Wong Soon Nam. So digital inclusion, this is very important actually, the idea of connectivity, both, you know, the physical infrastructure, is something that the Indonesian government has been sort of focusing on in all the different governments, because you rightly said, you know, we are a nation of 17,000 islands, and it's difficult to actually build an infrastructure in a archipelagic kind of country like ours, plus also with a very different socio-economic needs and characteristics of each of the areas. Tell me about some of the challenges when it comes to trying to get everybody, democratize, you mentioned, telecommunication use, making people feel included, nobody left behind.
Right.
Because when we're all connected, it will translate into faster and better economic growth and prosperity for all, obviously.
So Desi, Telkomsel has been around for 30 years, since 1995. The first tower that we built was in Batam, 1995. Since then, we have went on to build more than 300,000 of this. And I think that is built with that mission to reach out to every individual. We have a slogan that we say, empower Indonesian, enable businesses. And when we say empower Indonesian, it is with the objective of democratizing connectivity, making sure that nobody left behind. I give the example just now, beyond just the people that living in remote, also education. You know, many of the children that is in more remote part of the country need to access to internet, and lesson can be conducted online. I think without the connectivity, they will not be able to access to those information. So as education increase, things are more transparent, you know, we are leveling up everybody. I think that is where we're including everybody as part of the overall society. And then only that every individual potential can be unleashed. Everybody in Indonesia, the 280 million, will be able to contribute effectively. Nobody are left behind, nobody have that digital divide, you know, everybody. I think that is our vision, and we continue to build on that. And that brings me to the 5G. It is also for that purpose. So we have stayed on very clearly to that mission. The second part of it, beyond enabling Indonesia, it was also to enable businesses. And one of the things that we see a lot of businesses, in fact, we did a check and there were 60 million over medium, small enterprises, warung are there, which their productivity, their business could improve much better if they are able to gain access online. For example, you have a product, if you do not have access to the internet, you only can sell within the local community. Tomorrow, with that connection, you can sell beyond Indonesia and outside of Indonesia. So those are the very important things that we are very focused about in building. I must say one more time, is that that mission remain until today. And we are the biggest telco that continue to work with the government to roll out infrastructure, to roll out fiber to the home. Today, Indonesia have about 70 million homes. The statistics show that that's about only 20 million have access to broadband. There are 50 million still not connected. And our bigger mission now is how do we bring fiber to every household over the next 10 to 20 years.
Okay, which goes back to the how bit. And I think you mentioned something very important on the, what we call UMKM, the
Yes,
micro, small and medium
medium
enterprises. They make up more than 60% of Indonesia's labor.
Yes.
I mean, most of the economy actually comes from the very, very small scale. And a lot of them are, like you said, you know, they're the fishermen, they're the small traders, they're the, you know,
rice farmer,
the farmers
chili,
and so on. And particularly in the eastern part of Indonesia, where, for example, maybe the investment is a lot more. Now, Soon Nam, tell me the important thing and the challenges, and how can you speed up, you know, the process of getting everybody on board? Is it more regulations that you need from the for the government, or is it the, you know, the more investment needed or more technology? How and how fast can you do it?
Of course, all these, if I were to tell you that singularly Telkomsel will be able to do it, it is not true, right? This, you know, you need a village to raise a kid. And for connectivity to every corner of Indonesia, all the stakeholders would have to work together, the ministry, the government, the whole ecosystem. I give a specific example. Just now I talked about if I want to roll out 5G, I need a specific spectrum frequency. That itself come from the Ministry of ComDG. So we have to work hand in hand.
But that's in process.
That's
right?
in process. And to bring fiber to the home, huge amount of work need to be done. You need to lay, you need to dig, you need to put the fiber optics, and it is hundreds and thousands of kilometers. And you potentially could be only laying a fiber to not a very densely population, right? Because here in Jakarta is dense. You lay a fiber, you share. But in remote area, maybe just 100. Here you have 1,000. So there's also investment consideration. How quickly that I can bring, do I have enough investment to bring? And we prioritize which is the most critical, where are the key cluster, the industry, so on and so forth. So to me now, the biggest challenge for us, beside the mobile, is to bring fiber to every individual home. I give you another statistic. There is a statistic that was shared by GSMA. They say that if we can increase the household penetration, broadband penetration by 10%, the GDP of the country will grow between 1 to 2%. That's a huge number. That's a huge number.
I know this, and the government has a huge, I mean, a much bigger target, 8% growth. So this could be part of the key on how to drive economic growth.
Yes, and that's why you see there's a lot of work between the telco and the ComDG to collaborate together to make that happen.
And is it good, the collaboration so far?
Of course, without the regulator managing the market, coming up with policy that is business friendly, many of these things cannot be done. You want to lay fiber, you need license, and so on and so forth. So we've been working well.
What about the areas that you're prioritizing, particularly in the next couple of years? Where are you focusing on connectivity, laying down
I must say that it is not one area, but multiple areas. Because if you look at Indonesia, the businesses are not just concentrated, it's spread out. There are mining industry, there are logistic industry, there are manufacturing like in Batam. So it is not concentrated, but it's spread out. So Kalimantan, they are mining. In Batam, manufacturing. And when you have manufacturing, people start to shift in, and there are more houses built. So we will have to look at the demand and supply and start to work based on our understanding of the need, and then plan and prioritize accordingly. But in the meantime, as we plan to bring fiber to the home, we will have to provide mobile coverage. So it's a way for us to kind of interim, to provide connectivity, to bridge it until we bring fiber to every household.
Okay, well, Soon Nam, we still have one more segment to go. But we'll be back. Jangan kemana-mana dulu. Insight with Desi Anwar akan segera kembali sesaat lagi. Kembali bersama Insight with Desi Anwar. Di studio ada Direktur Planning and Transformation Telkomsel, Wong Soon Nam. Kita membahas banyak sekali peran mulai dari jaringan 5G dalam mendukung pertumbuhan ekonomi digital, AI, digital inclusion, dan tentu saja bagaimana kita mencoba untuk memastikan bahwa konektivitas ini menjadi salah satu prioritas bagi bangsa ini, khusus dalam telekomunikasi. Nah, Soon Nam, you've been following the disasters happening in Sumatra, North Sumatra, West Sumatra, and Aceh. And just looking at, Indonesia, we're in the rings of fire. We're vulnerable to all sorts of disasters, whether it's man-made or natural disasters. And obviously, one of the key things that's important is communication. Okay, so in these vulnerable areas, first of all, how do you ensure that things like communication it's not too badly impacted when it comes to disasters, and then when it comes to recovery and helping local governments to reconnect to actually establish connection again. What's the industry's, particularly Telkomsel's, role in making this, disaster, less of a disaster?
Yeah. So Daisy, first of all, our hearts goes out to the people in Sumatra. I mean, it is an event that nobody wanted it to happen, and our condolences, especially to those who are affected. And on the part of Telkomsel, we are very aware about the impact to them. In fact, some of our own colleagues who are based in Sumatra, based in Medan, Aceh, they are affected as well. So we feel it, we felt it. This particular disaster also affected our infrastructure. In Aceh, in the Sumatra Utara, Barat, we have a huge amount of our infrastructure were destroyed. So during that period, one of the most important things for us, and like you said, rightly pointed out, to establish communication. That's the most important thing. And together with our parent, Telkom, we've been actively going there to restore. And on top of that, many of them were affected because their home, their mobile were affected. So we went out there to provide free services, SIM card offered to them. And for example, in their home, flooded, their equipment were damaged. We go out to provide them free replacement. During the period where they could not use their service, we waive our charges. So our effort was to make sure that during this period, nobody are deprived of that connection to talk to their loved one or to reach out for help. And those are the things that we are doing. So two parts. Number one, during crisis, we always focus on recovery first. That's our first thing. And in peacetime, when things are good, that is where we build our network to be resilient. And I mentioned about early on AI that help us to do self-healing of the network so that it will not be just simply relying on human, but also on AI to help us to diagnose the problem and to restore the problem very quickly. So peacetime, build a reliable, resilient infrastructure so that if crisis happen, minimum damage, and if does happen, with all the resources that we have put in to recover as quickly as possible.
So in terms of the current disasters, and I think with climate change and everything else, we will be facing more extreme weather incidents, a situation, and more of this rather than less. What lessons learned, and how can you create resiliency in the infrastructure? What's the hows of it?
I think from a mobile perspective, our design of our base station, location of the base station, for example, in planning, we should understand the terrain and then plan the tower to be an area that are less likely to be affected by flood.
A lot of them like on top of a hill, for example, and then suddenly you get landslides.
It is. And some are built on top of a building as well. So identify strategic building, identify strategic location to put our infrastructure. And given this disaster is also important as we look at current situation, many of the infra are flooded and things are not operating. So these are lessons learned for us. How do we put in place more waterproofing to secure our infrastructure?
And of course, if you have power blackout, then
yes, and this is the other planning that we have. We work closely with PRN to bring power, but because some of the area are not accessible, so we will have to bring in generator, which we did, to bring the station up, bring in generator. In the meantime, work closely with PRN to restore the services. So a huge amount of cooperation is on the ground. Everybody is working around the clock at night to bring normalcy back as soon as possible.
Okay, let's talk about New Year's resolutions. To stay competitive, obviously, innovation is very important. The right strategy is important. Clear planning is also very important. Tell me your New Year's resolutions. What sort of exciting products are you planning to bring out and the kind of strategy?
Well, less of my resolution, but Telkomsel New Year
Of
resolution.
course, that's what I meant. Although your resolution is just as important.
Me too. But as I mentioned, early on, the statement kept coming up about micro segment, and it's all about understanding our customers. So 2026 is a year where we want to push out more relevant, more contextual, more personalized service to our customers.
Any sneak peeks, kind of?
AI will be a key area of focus. As I mentioned earlier on, we want to bring AI to the mass market. And this is something that we've been working on. We've already started some campaign to work with some AI service provider, but more will come. I think that will be a key area of focus. Last but not least, 5G will be a major differentiation because we are now the bigger 5G provider, but we want to do it beyond the 80 cities that we have to hit the target that ComDigi wanted was, if I recall, is around 36% by 2030, and we want to do that even at a much faster rate.
Yeah, I can imagine all the other tech companies or telecommunication, well now they're digital technology company, will be focusing on the same thing, particularly maximizing on AI use. So what's the competitive edge? Anything that stands out when it comes to the innovative products or the more personalized services that you are planning to roll out?
We will be, especially in 2026, also beyond the consumer, we want to work with the industry. So recently we have reorganized ourselves to focus on different vertical industry, the finance industry, the healthcare industry, logistic industry, manufacturing. So I think our differentiation would be to be able to offer solution that's relevant to the banking industry, to the manufacturing industry, and especially using 5G. This is a bit of a technical, there's this thing called network slicing, where, today the infrastructure are shared by everybody. But tomorrow, with AI, with 5G, we're able to carve out a portion of the network specifically allocated to individual customer so that it suits businesses. So it's not just about customization for our consumer, but it's also customization for our individual businesses.
Okay, what kind of investment are we talking about, these two things, rolling out 5G and also maximizing AI?
Over the last, I remember 10 years, every year we would have invested more than 10 trillion into infrastructure. And I think moving forward, this number won't change. It's likely to increase because there's a lot of work to be done for 5G and AI. So I would expect in the north of 10 trillion.
Oh, wow.
Per year.
Tell me, before we finish, your human capital, your employees, in the last decade, is there a shift to the much younger, tech-savvy or more digital natives employees that you are having on board? Is there a shift?
I think the shifts are happening organically as well as intentionally. Organically, because some of our colleagues who have been with us for a long time, their experience, they are retiring. We've been operating for more than 30 years. So some organically would have leave. But there's also intentionally, deliberately, that we are bringing in the younger generation who have new capability, they are more digital savvy, and these are the people that we need to reach out to the younger generation of people. So I wouldn't say that we deliberately shift, but I think it's good to have a mixture of energy, to have a mixture of experience, to have a mixture of digital savvy employees. So it's a good blend of people that we have now that we think we are ready to serve all the different segments of customer because we understand the customer.
Okay. So after 6 years in Indonesia, how are you? Are you happy here? How do you see the country as a whole?
Okay, so I have to be careful what I say, But one thing I think very positively about Indonesia is that it is a very creative country. there are many things that surprises me. Every time I travel to different places, I see people using technology, innovative, creative. It always strikes me that that's the potential and the power. I think the question is, how do you harness that for the betterment of Indonesia? That is your crown jewel. You have a lot of young people with a lot of energy, with a lot of creativity. That's your crown jewel. And I see it personally coming from Singapore.
And you're optimistic about Indonesia as
I
well?
am. Very.
Okay. You're happy here?
I'm still around.
Soon Nam, thank you so much for
Thank
your
you,
insight.
Desi.
It's been a great pleasure talking
Me
to you,
too.
and Happy New Year as well.
Yes.
What's your New Year's resolution on the personal level?
Stay healthy like you.
Yeah, stay healthy. I think
Yes.
that's the most important
Important
thing.
That's right.
Health is a true wealth.
Healthy what?
Health is a true wealth.
Yes, that is. If you don't have a healthy body, you can't enjoy the thing that you have.
Yeah. Once again, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
Ya,
much.
demikian Insight with Desi Anwar kali ini. Jangan lupa Anda juga dapat menyaksikan acara ini di cnnindonesia.com dan juga di YouTube CNN Indonesia Insight with Desi Anwar. Sampai jumpa. Stay safe. Bye-bye.